Welcome to the Third Touch Soccer Podcast. My name is Sam Leamy. I'm here with Connor Walsh and Michael Mclaughlin. What's going on, lads?
Not a whole lot.
How you doing, Mike? How's Brooklyn?
Doing really good. Everything's good.
All right.
Oh, how's my week been? Oh, let me
No.
tell you.
I was going to ask Connor how his week's going first, and then we'll get to you. He's closer, and he's probably had a good week. How's your week going, Connor?
It's been pretty good.
Yeah?
Nothing's happened really. Just been I've worked all
Did you go
week.
to the NYCFC game this weekend?
I did not. I decided against it at the last minute, and it looks like I made the right decision because it was a pretty boring 1-0 loss for the lads. So I didn't miss too much. Although I know Mike was probably pretty mad at me because I had the tickets and I didn't come down, which means he couldn't go see Nagby.
Oh, yeah. You missed Nagby coming to your
city.
My favorite MLS player. On my cousin's birthday, I told them all we were going. We had the season tickets. I told them, hey, listen, I got season tickets. Let's go. We all went to the gate. Texting Connor.
No, you didn't go to the gate.
Dude, we were there. Texting Connor. He's like, dude,
What?
sorry, woke up late, never made it. Bah.
You were there at the stadium?
No, my cousins don't like soccer. They call me gay. So.
Jeez.
I
felt bad.
I guess we've all kind of somewhat recovered from the USA-Costa Rica game. Since our last podcast, USA have played Honduras away in Honduras in the slum island, as you would say, in the 6-foot-high grass. A 1-1 draw. Bobby Wood getting an equalizer in the last 8 minutes or so over there in Honduras. How vital was that 1 point in Honduras this past week, guys?
It was big. I mean, it was needed. Losing was not an option, frankly, for the future of the program. And it was ugly. It was ugly, but they got the point, and moving on to October 6th against Panama.
Yeah, they needed the point, all that. Connor's 100% right. My biggest problem with this is so non-soccer fans are chiming in like the men's team sucks. This is what we get. We're not going to make the World Cup. We suck at soccer. Soccer sucks. And then you're like, how many games we lost this year? They're like, I don't know, 10. And you're like, no, one game. We've lost one fucking game. Nobody knows anything. But on ESPN, it becomes a big story because you fucking lose to fucking Honduras and Costa Rica. We fucking suck. And it's like, dude, you don't know anything about you know what I mean?
So looking at that fixture before you start the Hex, a 1-1 draw away to Honduras is a good result. You would take that in any other circumstance, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's not great. But
the fact that the loss on Friday a couple of weeks ago against Costa Rica kind of makes that result in Honduras even worse, just because of the scenario USA are in.
Yeah,
because you don't lose your 2 home games against the big boys, Mexico and Costa Rica. You have 2 extra points, even if you're taking 2 draws. And if you win one of those, that's an extra 4 points.
Yeah, like I'm literally talking to people that are like, we're not making the World Cup. I'm like, Matt, the likelihood is we're making the World Cup. We're always going to make the World Cup.
People like love the chime in on the national team that like don't follow it. Not that we're like, we're irrelevant, but you know what I'm saying? Like people love to have an opinion about the national team because for
people
a lot
just listen to our podcast. That's all. They should just listen
exactly,
to us,
but
not anybody else.
Some opinions are frankly pretty shocking and ignorant just about, the team sucks. The squad isn't actually underperforming. It's just a bad team. It's like, well, no, it's not actually. This is a team that has in the past finished first in the Hex or second in the Hex, and now we're fourth. So clearly we're underperforming. How is it anything other than underperforming? The team doesn't suck. It's just, whatever.
Well, I mean, Mexico had a really tough time qualifying for the previous World Cup, and they did well in the last World Cup when they got there. I'm not saying this is going to be the same situation that USA are going to get to Russia and then perform really well. I believe Mexico went out against Netherlands in the last World Cup with a Robin dive in extra time. But yeah, USA generally comfortably qualify for the World Cup every time it comes around. This is the first time in a very long time that they have struggled. The national team need the support behind them more than ever right now. Talking about people's opinions, Alexi Lalas had a lot to say at the halftime, right? At the past weekend.
Yeah, the Sounders LA game of the late game Sunday night.
Did you hear this, Mike?
I watched it live. And I remember watching it live and being like, Is he? I was like, he's so. I
Well,
don't know, it seems so.
we're
rehearsed,
gonna
but anyway, I
let's
wanna
play
hear
it first.
Well,
No,
we have a
yeah,
clip
yeah.
for the listeners here. We'll play it and we'll get everyone's reaction after this. So this is Alexi Lalas at halftime in the
Seattle versus Los Angeles Galaxy game.
Tim Howard. Tim, the Belgium game ended 3 years ago. We need you to save the ball now. Jeff Cameron, clean it up or let's get someone who will. Clint Dempsey, yeah, you're a national team legend. Now we need you to be a national team leader. Michael Bradley, the U.S. does not need you to be zen. The U.S. needs you to play better. Josie Altidore, is this really as good as it gets? Because it's still not good enough. Bruce Arena. Bruce, Jurgen Klinsmann lost at home to Mexico. You lost at home to Costa Rica. This is now all on you, not Jurgen. Oh, and by the way, to all the guys that I didn't mention it because you don't even warrant to mention. That includes you too, Wonder Boy. So, what are you guys going to do? Are you going to continue to be a bunch of soft, underperforming, tattooed millionaires? You are a soccer generation that has been given everything. You are a soccer generation who is on the verge of squandering everything. So, now it's time to pay it back. Make us believe again. If you don't owe it to yourselves, you owe it to us. And get off my lawn.
Okay, guys. So what's your initial thought on this? I mean,
Wait, what was it? He said, "Get off my lawn."
get off my lawn at the end. I don't know. Are they kicking the ball around on his lawn? He's just like throwing the ball off the lawn. I had a neighbor like that when I was younger. I used to intentionally kick the ball over.
What if he like lives next to a player like in Los Angeles or something in their mansions, and that's been going on, and he's like throwing out shots that we don't even know about.
Dude, I lived next to people all the time. I was like, "Get off my lawn!" They just yell it at you, old people, like sad. And yeah, that's funny. That's pretty funny, actually.
So let's start at the beginning. What does Alexi Lalas? What warrants this rant, should we say, of the national team? This is a few days after the Honduras game. This is this past weekend, and he's attacking all the senior players in the squad. So let's start with Tim Howard in goal. He didn't play the Honduras game away. He played the Costa Rica game at home. Was he hugely at fault during this qualifying? Is he to blame? Where are we pointing the finger? Where do you think Alexi Lalas is pointing the finger here?
With Howard, you have a guy that was retired from the national team. He hasn't been excellent. He's made mistakes. The first goal against Costa Rica was something he probably should have saved. He showed too much of that far post and didn't get down quick enough. But regardless, I don't know what you really want from Tim Howard right now as your number one keeper. The guy's already retired from the national team. He's 30 whatever years old. Like I don't know. Like what do people really expect? I think that we're seeing a guy at the end of his career performing like a guy at the end of his career, and it's at this point it's U.S. Soccer's fault for not developing another keeper that isn't 38 years old that can start for the national team. Like I get the digs at Tim Howard, but how do we not? We do have other keepers, but they're just not playing it. We're just stuck on Tim Howard.
So Mike, do you believe Alexi Lalas has this right to attack the national team?
Listen, I don't mind it. I mean, I know he probably is like, I'm doing this. I wrote this out. I'm going to make a splash. This is what Alexi Lalas does. Like,
it took him 4 days to write this little piece up. It took him 4 days.
He got super pumped up. He's like, this is going to go viral. Everyone's going to be talking about it. And here's the thing. All my cousins who I was joking about who didn't want to go to the soccer game and made fun of me for trying to even take them to a soccer game all send this to me like, this is pretty sick, though. This guy's pretty much on the money. They don't watch any soccer, but they liked it. So it's actually kind of cool because the more controversy you can get, I think, even if it is sort of like disingenuous a little bit, I think it's, the better because it pulls other people in.
I mean, he says at the end, all these players have been given everything. When he was playing for the national team, it was kind of a cutthroat team, chiming out results, fighting for their country pretty much, and not with high-skilled players. I'm not going to say this is a golden generation of US players. There are bad players, and not bad players. There are average players, there are good players, and there's a couple of very good players. We're not talking a golden generation here. We're not saying we're giving them everything. There's been instability in the last 10 years within the national team, and I think I'm not going to say they've overachieved. They did well to get out that group in 2014 with Ghana, Portugal, and Germany. They were the lowest seed in that group. So to even get out that group was a huge achievement. So struggling in the first time in like the last 10, 12 years with an okay team, I don't think deserves this kind of attack.
Yeah, I mean, kind of what I said earlier about U.S. fans in general, but we... Oh, dude, hold on. I got to stop. I forgot what I was going to say. Sorry, my bad.
No, we can carry on. No, we'll carry on. Yeah.
Because, no, seriously, because I'll...
I have no idea what I was trying to say.
Dude, first of all, 2010, we weren't in 100% either. It was tight because a lot of the teams were tight, and it took the last...
Pretty much the same team. Pretty much the same team.
And it took Donovan on the free kick in Honduras to actually, I think, was like the go-ahead goal, I think, and got us into the World Cup. So I don't think it's unwarranted, but it was interesting when you listen to that speech, that part when he does get to that, you have everything. That's the one part I was like, oh, he's not really lying there. He actually feels a little pissed that he wasn't born like 20 years later. Because You think? Look, man, they got a pro league now. They got everything he didn't have. The training, Americans now are respected. With Dempsey, Donovan, now Pulisic. It's not if you're trying to get scouted by a European squad, you have a chance. It's not.
But he's attacking everyone. He's attacking all the senior players up through the spine of that team. He went from Tim Howard to Jeff Cameron to Clint Dempsey, Michael Bradley, Josie Altidore. He briefly touched on the fringe players.
Yeah.
And it's kind of a weird rant. Let me put it that way. It's like they need support, the national team right now, and the fans need to give them support. The pundits need to give them. You can question them, but this rant was a little bit out of context for what situation the national team are in right now.
I just don't know what Lalas expects. Is this like going to be a kick in the pants for October 6th? Like, September 10th he did that rant, and like that's supposed to carry over to the 6th? Like,
dude, 100%. I think that's what it is. This rant goes out, it goes viral. It's all over Barstool and all those things. I got people that never listen to soccer hit me up. This maybe this is what we need. And now we're gonna beat Panama 5-0 anyway, and then we're gonna go beat Trinidad anyway, and then they're gonna point back and be like,
"Whoa! What do you mean? These are not easy games. Panama are pretty much the informed team in that group right now. It's not a given. I know you're very optimistic. Trinidad and Tobago are fighting post Hurricane Irma. They're gonna be up for this game. It's not an easy place to go to. You're not guaranteed 6 points here." So the next two games to qualify is... I know you're confident. I'm not confident.
You've got to just put Pulisic as the number 10. Shut the fuck up. You win. That's what happens.
So Alexi Lalas, Fox have the World Cup next summer, and he's going to be all over our airwaves. And imagine if USA underperform in the next World Cup if they get there.
Dude, there's going to be some montage at the next World Cup when we get out of the group play. Ever since Alexis Lalas' rant, the USA is 17-1-1. Like, they're going to edit it all together like Fox Sports Soccer.
So do you think Bruce Arena's playing this rant, like sits all his team down and just plays this rant and goes, listen, motherfuckers, look at what this ex-pro is saying about you?
Well, I'm kind of hoping that some of the players say something or talk out, because they have in the past, like when Abby Wambach got that DUI and all the players went off on Twitter roasting her about it's being foreign born. It was pretty hilarious. I remember like Altidore and Alejandro Bedoya like roasted her publicly. So I'm hoping someone says something, because that's really would be great little side drama, the team versus cringeworthy angry old man Alexi Lalas.
I feel like if I was a player on the teams, I would just laugh. The tattooed millionaires thing, that was kind of funny. I don't think it would motivate me. I think it's just kind of funny.
Wasn't he a drummer when he got called up to the World Night?
No, he's got like music albums. Yeah. Dude, Lalas is such a clown, and
the deadhead.
He definitely applies to like I don't know. I feel like he applies so well to like the casual soccer fan, just because he's loud, boisterous. He's not a very intelligent guy, so he just says everything as exactly how it is. No, he's a really stupid individual. He's really a dumb person, dude.
I don't know about that. But the respect level.
You hear that, Lalas?
Like, who respects Alexi Lalas? He's an angry old man that hasn't been relevant for 20 years. Like, and it's crazy to me to see a lot of the MLS media has been all over this rant, and they love it.
He's respected in some ways in the United States journalistic world. He is pretty much solely responsible for bringing David Beckham into the MLS.
He was the general manager of the Galaxy at the time.
So respect level, Mike. How do you put him in from 1 to 10? 10 being respecting him the most, and 1 just he is clueless.
8 years ago, as an announcer, he's way better than he used to be. He's way better. He also, I think he knows he's a character. He's like, I'm a little bit of a character. I think behind the scenes, he's probably much more reserved, and he'd probably be like, yeah, you know what? I mean, come on. It's not, we're going to make the World Cup, blah, blah, blah. But I think it's probably a good thing, man. You need that sort of WWE atmosphere to any sport.
Yeah, of course you do. Yeah.
Dude,
I feel like a lot of Fox and presenters, Eric Ronaldo and Alexi Lalas, really speak their mind, and sometimes it's a good thing, sometimes it's a bad thing, and everyone's going to have an opinion. If you're scripted like ESPN are, then it's just going to be that same old, like, oh my god, this is the norm. This is so boring. And when you stir up a bit of controversy like this, it gets people talking. It got us talking. So whether it's right or wrong, I don't think it matters. You should have your opinion. And Alexi Lalas did have his opinion.
Well, the only way to get a job at Fox is to be a huge douche. But dude, so my thing with Lalas, and I've talked about this with like my boys and stuff in college when we were like watching MLS or USA games, is that Lalas clearly is extremely passionate about the national team, extremely passionate about MLS, and he is definitely an ambassador for the sport. He wants to grow it. He's just like the worst human being alive, and just to watch this rant, I was just like cringing the whole time. And he's just a cringeworthy guy that just embarrasses himself on live television once a week.
Dude, well, it's like if you're in the know, like if you're watching a lot of soccer like we do, and you were watching that live like I was, I got up halfway through because I was cringing too, and I just so I didn't even hear the get off my lawn.
It's all about just like looking at the camera, and the camera zooms in as he's going off. It was weird. It was like he's really upset, but it was weird. He should have expressed his opinion more so straight after the game through another source. I think halfway through an MLS game, come on, dude.
Like, did anyone like get hype at halftime of that game? Like Sunday night, football's on. No one was watching that game to begin with, except for like MLS people. And I don't know, man. He's just a wacko. He said things that were said were okay. The national team does need to improve. It comes down to the players. It comes down to Bruce Arenas. He called them out. However, CONCACAF has improved. The other teams are way better. They have a lot of guys are like solid MLS guys. I'm watching that. We're watching the LA Seattle game, and Roman Torres, center back for Seattle, Panama. Like there's good players from the region spread out across the league, and you have to give credit to the other teams. It doesn't fall a soul in the U.S. who have been poor and who have underachieved, but this is just reactionary, like trying to go viral. It just seemed very forced, and to me, it felt fake.
You think he's just trying to get more followers on Twitter?
He probably lost followers after that. Like, I don't know, man. Like, I could see like douchebag soccer bro, like, bro, Lalas was sick, dude. But like, I don't know, man. I don't know what he intended. Obviously, he wants the team to improve. He wants the United States in the World Cup, but whatever. That was just embarrassing.
Get off my lawn. So, I mean, they're in a precarious position right now, the United States. They have Panama at home on October 6th. Then they go away to Trinidad and Tobago a few days after that. They're in the 4th place final the playoff positions right now, and if they finish there, they will meet the winners of Syria or Australia. Syria, who play in Malaysia, the war-torn country, home and away against Australia.
Oh, really? They're playing all their home games in Malaysia?
Malaysia, yeah.
Okay.
I mean, can you see Australia or the United States going to Syria? And
no, I know that, but I didn't realize that's where I figured they weren't playing at home. But
I mean, they can, play on Alexi Lalas' lawn, maybe.
Yeah, he'll just angrily tell you to get off on a nationally televised broadcast that no one's watching.
Belgium have already qualified for the World Cup next year. Roberto Martinez England are very close. Argentina struggling. They have Peru at home and Ecuador away. They're really struggling right now. A lot of questions being brought to Argentina and Lionel Messi in the past international games. Yes, Mike.
Well, I want to say one thing before we jump on to this next thing. What Connor was saying about CONCACAF, how it's improved or whatever. It's without a doubt the third best region, right? At this point.
UEFA, South America,
CONMEBOL, and then CONCACAF.
I think you could maybe make the case
Africa.
that Africa or Asia might be ahead, depending.
You think so?
I mean, there's only 5, mate. If they're third, that's
We're the best. We're really moving up the standings. Shut up, Sam.
No, we are.
So yes, that is There's a. I mean, Netherlands look like they're not going to make the World Cup. That's a huge. I mean, I was looking at the lineup of the Netherlands team. I could only recognize 2 or 3 of their players. They're going through a huge transition period right now. And every country doesn't have Alexi Lalas, and I'm thankful that the United States do, just to wind you guys up.
The great white hope, Alexi Lalas, the voice of reason.
So on to Premier League this past weekend. Huge win for Man City against Liverpool this weekend. Mane, controversial sending off. We're not going to dive too into that. Brighton getting their first win of the season. Watford up to 4th. United actually dropped their first points 2-2 draw against Stoke City away. But the big talking point over the weekend was Frank De Boer lasting only 77 days at Crystal Palace. 4 games, 4 defeats in the league, 0 goals. Was he given enough time, boys?
No, and he was supposed to be. Apparently, he was supposed to be sacked before the game. Steve Parish had already decided that he was done, regardless of the result. He has not been seen. The reports at Palace is that the players don't respect him. They're not seen eye to eye with the ownership and the manager. Apparently, De Boer has been kind of difficult. It hasn't been the best situation, and he underperformed pretty badly at Inter Milan as well. So his managerial track record outside of Ajax, which is an environment that he knows very, very well, hasn't been great. And you would think with a guy like Frank De Boer, he would need time to implement an Ajax style of play to a team, Crystal Palace, that frankly has never strung more than 10 passes together in their whole time as a club. And the players there are Sam Allardyce's players. Palace didn't do great in the transfer market. They signed Mamadou Sakho on deadline.
26 million.
Yeah, and was it deadline day? And they wanted
Loftus-Cheek. They got
Loftus-Cheek, but they wanted that stuff wrapped up a while ago, and the club kind of put their feet in the ground and resisted that transfer. And I think De Boer was just unhappy, but 4 games, 77 days is pretty terrible.
So 85 days in Inter Milan. When he left Ajax, he won, I think, 4 division titles with Ajax. Goes to Inter Milan, lasts 85 days. Ownership change when he was there in that time. Then he comes to Crystal Palace, the Premier League, and lasts 77 days. Mike, do you think is this the state of the Premier League right now? You're under pressure with every result, or do you think he deserved more time?
Well, I've looked into this pretty in depth, and I'll say this. It seems. Listen, I don't know who you're talking about. I really don't know what.
So just in any job, if you're not doing
it was Swansea City, I swear to God, I thought a guy went 0-4 because the guy told me the other day Swansea City they fired the manager, but he's saying it's Crystal Palace.
Crystal Palace.
Yeah, Paul Clement is still at Swansea.
He's 0-4.
0-4. The only
So I got excited that Bob Bradley was vindicated, and he wasn't. Jesus.
So the only win he had was in the EFL Cup, which is against Ipswich at home, 2-1. He's been unlucky with Zaha being injured and Loftus-Cheek as well, not playing any minutes. Ipswich, they're pretty good. But in any job, regardless, 77 days, if you're not doing your job properly, is that long enough? Mike, if you're in a job for 70...
For a real job, yes, obviously for a real job. But for managerial, the whole... He must have lost the locker room. It must have been just one of those... It does seem weird. It's like there's no it seems in that sport and in that league, they fire those lower level teams, fire those managers so quick because it's getting out of the Premier League is such a devastating hit financially that they can't. There's like, fuck it, another guy, fuck him, he sucks too, and then you're hoping that somebody gets something going. And then at least your supporters, I guess.
Well, I mean, it worked out for Leicester last season. They were struggling to stay in the Premier League. They let Ranieri go, and a lot of people in the footballing world had a soft spot for Ranieri. They could not afford to be relegated. I talked to a lot of people at the bar saying it was the wrong decision. They were still in the Champions League. And then I replied, I was like, they cannot get relegated. And the way they're playing in the Premier League right now, the balance just doesn't look right. And if they keep losing games, they're going to find themselves in a really bad situation. Fortunately for Leicester City, they went with Craig Shakespeare. They strung 3-4 wins together in a row, and they got themselves out of it and did pretty well in the Champions League as well.
Yeah, and have continued to do pretty well under Shakespeare. So,
and playing good football. They've been unlucky with a few results this season, but their replacement, Mike, comes a day after Frank De Boer gets sacked. Who do you think Crystal Palace have replaced Frank De Boer with?
Who are they going to replace him?
But they already have. They already have replaced them.
Oh, and I got to guess?
Yeah, why not?
Owen Hargreaves.
He's still on the books at Man United.
Is he still playing? No, who was the guy who used to coach Bolton?
Owen Coyle.
Owen Coyle.
Owen Coyle.
Former
Owen Coyle.
Houston Dynamo manager as well, Owen Coyle.
Love him.
It's not. It's an ex-England manager.
Ex-English. Oh, are you my boy? Roy Hodgson?
Roy Hodgson is your boy. The ex-Fulham
sick.
manager, the experienced coach from around the globe. They obviously had him in mind before they fired Frank. They were talking about Roy Hodgson over the summer, and why would you go with a young coach coming from one experience, not a top-level league, going to Inter Milan, not lasting in a top-flight league, and then coming to the Premier League? His style of play, the Ajax style of play, is starting from the back, passing a lot, goes to Inter Milan, tries to implement it. They're going through a huge transitional period with their money, changing of players. Then they come to Crystal Palace with a lot of players who play individually, players like Louis Saha, players
Wilfried Zaha.
Wilfried Zaha, what did I say?
Louis Saha.
Louis Saha. No, I said Zaha. Coming to the Premier League and trying to adapt that style of play that he implement, the way Ajax play, obviously wasn't going to work with a team like Crystal Palace.
Yeah, no, it was never going to work in this given time. That's a pretty big. It's two different extremes. Like the just a straight up English style of Crystal Palace. I mean, they do have some technical wingy players. Wilfried Zaha is one of them, but that's so different from an Ajax style of play to Roy Hodgson donkey English style of play.
But what Roy Hodgson's going to do, he's going to not play the most exciting football, but will get points on the board, just like Sam Allardyce did.
It's very similar to when Partey was sacked and they bring in Allardyce just to grind out results, which they'll do, and they'll stay up. And Palace should be okay. I would imagine, hopefully. I mean, I like Crystal Palace, so.
Okay, big result of the weekend though. Manchester City 5, Liverpool 0. I didn't think Liverpool were going to lose this game. Huge intent by Manchester City. They're playing pretty much the classic 4-4-2. There's a lot of stability now. Aguero, Jesus playing together. People didn't think, they questioned that partnership. Both scoring, Sane coming on. But the biggest talking point was Mane's high foot. Did you see the incident, Mike?
I did, yeah.
What was your initial thoughts?
I don't think he meant to. I don't think he knew he was there. It was unfortunate, I thought.
Nah, he had to know. He knew he was there. He knew he was coming because obviously the goalie's coming out. It's a 50-50 ball for a goalie. He's going to come out. But he didn't intentionally kick him in the face.
I think he's confident he's ahead of the keeper, that he's going to get to the ball. I mean, that's what every strike.
I mean,
that's what everyone.
No way Mane meant to actually kick him in the face and hurt him. Yeah. However, I think it has to be just a red card. Your
dangerous play, right?
Your dad from watching football in the 80s might argue because they're donkeys, but I think in this day and age, it's just a red card.
Did your dad play in the 80s?
He did.
Nice.
And he probably would have said that was get up and play.
I played in the 80s. Mike and I played in the 80s. My thing is with this challenge, the ball comes through. There's probably a 2-second run from when Mane makes a great run, beating the offside trap. My whole problem with the challenge is how high his foot is. I mean, the goalkeeper's coming out and he's risking his head when he heads the ball. But Mane sees the goalkeeper coming out. He knows the goalkeeper's coming. If he didn't know the goalkeeper was coming, he's letting that ball bounce again and the keeper just heads it away. So he takes a slight look. There's a lot of arguments saying he didn't know the goalkeeper was there. He knew the goalkeeper was coming out. He knew. That's why his foot goes up. He tries to beat the goalkeeper to that ball. His foot is so high. He's unfortunate that it's a red card and he catches the goalkeeper. He's very unfortunate in that sense.
What's crazy is how high these guys can get their feet.
Yeah, exactly. There's
like
so
in a
nimble
sprint run that you can literally just put your knee to your ear and like do a split and get the ball. Like I'm just playing side. It's crazy.
There has never been a time when I'm not the most athletic player that's ever been, but I have never had my foot that high to try and control a ball. If the ball's that
you're warming up. Not when you're warming up for your CrossFit classes, you don't get your foot that high.
Never. But if a ball's that high, I'm trying to head it. You're always running the risk if you bring that foot that high. That's the issue here. He's unlucky, and he's going to be banned for 3 games, and that's a huge loss to Liverpool. And Jurgen Klopp said after the game, Liverpool fans shouldn't look into the result too much. Neither should Manchester City. I think that is a huge goal. Time after time, the Liverpool defence has been opened up, and they have these games where they can keep 2 or 3 clean sheets and then just let in 3 or 4 or 5 like they did at the weekend.
Yeah, Liverpool fans might be the most delusional fan group, frankly, because they believe that this Firmino, Mane, Salah attack is so good. And yes, it's facts. It's quick on the counter. Some good technical players there, but I'm not surprised to see Liverpool lose 5-0. They have a part-time goalkeeper and a joke of a defense. And, what do you expect against a much better team and better club? Liverpool is a club that can finish top 4 for sure, but there's a gap in class between Manchester City, Manchester United, Chelsea even. Liverpool's...
Do you think they train now to like on their flexibility, like they do like a rocket line and everyone's just like kicking their legs as high as they kick their legs?
I think it's
like higher.
I think a lot of yoga's been implemented in I really do, and the flexibility's there, and to be that nimble and get your leg that high. I don't think it's coached. I don't think Jurgen Klopp's going, guys, if a ball's that high, get your leg up as high as you can and try and stud people. And no, I don't. I think they're the most athletic they have ever been. And you spit on yourself there?
That's pretty gross.
It is September. Harry Kane has scored. He scored at Goodison Park twice. Wayne Rooney playing the game post his DUI. Huge result for Tottenham. They can't do it at home at Wembley Stadium, but they can do it away. Everton struggling with all these signings they made in the summer, down to 16th place, 4 points after 4 games. Concerning times for Everton, what should Koeman do with Rooney now?
I think it's too soon to be completely concerned. Brought in a lot of fresh faces that will take time to gel, and I wouldn't be too reactionary if I was an Everton fan.
How did Rooney look in the game?
It was a complete masterclass from Tottenham Hotspur on Saturday. They looked absolute. They could have had 4 or 5. They really could.
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe Rooney's a bit distracted.
Yeah, did he look sad, like depressed, like he's been drinking too much?
Maybe. He went on a bender the night before. But, title favourites now. Man City, Man United, the preseason favourites. Man City, after that win, do you think they've overtook United as title favourites? Do you think it's going to be a 2-horse race? Chelsea are back into it now. They had another good result at the weekend.
Sam, I got to tell you something. I've just purchased a United jacket. What are they called? The jackets?
Zip ups? Zip up jackets?
Warm ups. I bought a United zip up. Warm up. Yeah. I'm all into that now. That's what I wear now. I just wear warm up jackets. And the United one is fresh. It's red. I don't have a red one, so I got that. I was gonna get Arsenal. I was like, nah, because United's my squad now. And dude, I watched them play Basel yesterday, and I think United's taking this whole at least the Premier League this whole season.
Wow. I mean, I haven't bought a United shirt in a while.
It's my bit of the year.
And I haven't worn a United shirt in a very long time.
I've never seen you wear a United shirt.
I'm just kind of, I don't know if it's my age, and I've just seen like dads wear their jeans and a United jersey, and I'm just like, that just looks odd. That looks weird.
Yeah. No, don't get the jerseys. Get the zip up that you can kind of wear out and no one even knows in America. Like, oh, that's a cool little zip
I
up
did
thing.
get one for Christmas last year. My friend got me a bright red Manchester United zip up, and it's just in the closet at the bag. Haven't touched it.
All right, dude, I'm gonna cancel my order. You give me that. What is that? Is it a medium or a large?
I don't know. I'll check. I have no idea.
There's a NYC FC pop-up store here in the city over on 14th Street. Went there yesterday. Gonna buy one of their fleeces too.
I like this Orlando City t-shirt. I love
Orlando
it.
City's good.
Yo, how was the pop-up shop? I've been seeing them tweet about it.
It was great because I went over there at 6:00 and it was fucking closed. That was cool.
Oh, sick.
I was like, I'm like knocking on the door, but I guess it was really popular and that they sold out a lot of stuff.
Good for New
right.
York City.
And if any fans know a good place to use to get soccer gear, specifically zip up.
You want
starter jack?
You want fakies or you want fakey shirts?
No, I want the real shit.
Mike.
I'll spend like $80-$100.
Mike, I can get you 10% off World Soccer Shop every order.
I feel like World Soccer Shop's kind of bullshit though.
Their website looks like it's 15 years old, and that's why soccer.com is the superior place. Yeah, it's better.
Wait, will I get a real? But does World Soccer Shop give me the real deal?
Oh yeah, no, it's real stuff. It just looks outdated, the website, but it's all real stuff.
I'm gonna get like 4 or 5 of these things. I got a Puma one right now. I'm gonna get a couple more. I got a USA men's one. I'm looking at that. I don't know which one to get. I think I'm gonna get the Gold Cup one. That one looks pretty cool.
Mike's out here, man, dropping stacks.
Because nobody know. You walk around New York, nobody knows. That's not like, hey, soccer. It just looks like a nice, nice.
You just want to talk to people in the street. You want people to stop you and talk about soccer and debate.
Yeah.
And just shout at them, "Get off my lawn." Do you have a lawn in Brooklyn?
Yeah, just go up to get off my fucking lawn. No, I do. I have. We don't have any grass, but we do have a driveway here. So
there you go. Kick the ball around there. Do some keepy uppies. But yeah, moving on. Champions League up and started yesterday. Big victories for Chelsea at home to Karabakh, the Azerbaijani team. Big result for PSG at Celtic, always a hard place to go. Manchester United coming through the test against FC Basel. They've always struggled against that team. Barcelona, huge intent start of the season. 3-0 winners over Juventus. Messi scoring 2 goals the first time he scored against Buffon. Sporting Lisbon, 3-2 winners away to Olympiacos. I guess
that's a big result.
I guess the surprise result is CSK Moscow, 2-1 winners in Benfica. That's the Manchester United game. Manchester United go away to CSK Moscow in the next game. That's probably the biggest fixture in the group for Manchester United. But I know, Mike, you're waving, you're getting excited, but...
I'm only getting excited because I watched Dembele on Barcelona make his debut this weekend. I watched that game.
Champions League debut.
Well, he played against Espanyol, too.
No, I watched him play against Espanyol. Okay. And he came in the last 20 minutes, had a beautiful assist to Suarez, he looked dangerous, looked great. And then I watched a lot of the game yesterday, and he looked dangerous and looks great. And I'm thinking Barcelona, they just look stacked. And 2, I got excited because if Dembele is that good with Barcelona, what does that mean for our boy?
I don't think Barcelona are that stacked. They have a bunch of no-name defenders and a very weak old midfield. But
I mean, they're looking good. They're looking good.
No, that was a great result. It was a great result.
It's a huge result. It's a team that knocked them out of the Champions League last season at the semi-final stage.
Yep.
It's a huge result. Juventus are very organized, and to win 3-0 after everyone was saying Barcelona are going to be the ones that are going to struggle this year. Real Madrid have stuttered at the start of La Liga. 4 points behind Barcelona. That is not 4 points in any other league when you look at those teams. 4 points in La Liga is a huge gulf. It's an 8-point gap, say, in the Premier League. It's a hard gap to catch up.
And I relate everything back to the U.S. men's national team, so I apologize. That's my only one real focus and reason for being on this podcast. But I love all soccer and all that, but watching Dembele rip it up, I'm like, dude, the kid could rip it up. 2, Buffon still doing it at what age? 41, 42?
48.
Why can't Tim?
He's old.
Yeah, why can't Tim Howard?
Well,
Whatever.
At some point in his career, Tim Howard was world class for a couple of years. Buffon has been world class for 15 years. That's the difference. That's the difference I feel. And I mean, the ability is different. I mean, Tim Howard has a couple of, medical conditions, should we say.
Every week.
Howard Tourette's joke out of Sam. You can't help it. You bring up Tim Howard, he's like, at the end of his statement, he's like, and Tim Howard, he's a little.
I respect Tim
twitchy.
Howard. I respect Tim Howard a lot, and the best goalkeeper in the 2014 World Cup. But I feel Buffon is there's a huge gulf between the two goalkeepers.
I think the rumor is Howard is injured and he just won't sit down and actually let himself heal. That's the rumor I read.
But another huge result: Paris Saint-Germain, PSG, 5-0 winners at Celtic. Always a tough place to go. Neymar again ripping it up. A lot of people are saying they haven't had the competition. They haven't been put to test. I think Saint Etienne, Lens, Metz as well.
Metz and Toulouse.
Toulouse, big winners in all those games. Games they expected to win with the team they have. Everyone's focusing about the front three in Cavani, Neymar, and Mbappe. But looking at their defense, and Dani Alves, what a great signing for PSG.
PSG, these English pundits that are all upset that this little French club is sick. Dude, they are so good, and they are so balanced from top to bottom. Yes, they're playing against lesser opponents. However, they are a very, very well built team that can make a run in the Champions League, which is their ultimate goal, is to win the Champions League, and they've pulled out all the stops.
Connor, do you think that they're the favorites now?
No, Real Madrid is still the favorite, but I think PSG is the second best team in Europe, and they can compete with Real Madrid.
I mean, Barcelona have lost at Celtic in recent years. Juventus have found it tough in recent years as well at Celtic Park. 5-0 winners is a huge intent. Scott Brown is not the player he used to be.
Unfortunately.
But that's
the one thing I'll say about Barcelona too, is that with all this Neymar, Messi getting older, I think Messi looks up for it this year to really put one last amazing year together. And that's motivation.
He hasn't changed. I that's a great point, Mike. I feel the motivation is there more than ever because Barcelona have always expected to do well. They've been questioned over the summer. Messi's probably just sitting at home thinking, well, I'm going to prove everyone wrong this year. And he'll take games by the scruff of the neck. That's what world-class players do. And there's no one better in history than Lionel Messi to do that. Absolutely not.
Ronaldo.
And I mean Ronaldo, yes, he's very good. He's up there. But honestly, over the course of 10 years, would you rely on Messi getting a result in the last 10 minutes or Ronaldo getting a result in the last 10 minutes? Who's going to take that ball, dribble past a million players and score a goal?
I mean, obviously Messi would do the dribbling, but dude, it's Ronaldo. Stop talking about it.
Right, we're not going to get into that.
But
huge game today for Tottenham Hotspur and Borussia Dortmund. We'll do the Pulisic watch first over the weekend. 0-0. They're still top of the league. Bayern Munich are still struggling. They lost 2-0 to Hoffenheim over the weekend. First time Bayern Munich have been that low in, I believe, 7 years, something like that. Sixth place, only 4 games gone in the Bundesliga. But do you watch the Borussia Dortmund game of the weekend? 0-0.
I did. They got the draw. They actually got a red card for who's the team that they played again? I'm sorry, even though I watched the whole game. They got a red card, and this is my thing. They had 80% possession. Dortmund did, and couldn't get a goal.
It was Freiburg.
Freiburg, which I've actually been to Freiburg. It's a nice town. I'm not kidding. And they have a nice little little Freiburg like creek, and there's the Black Forest. All right, whatever.
Freiburg Creek.
There is. It's like a river. I don't know. It runs through the town, I think. Okay, it was a while ago. But I thought that it was just one of those games where they peppered the goal, and they peppered in, it was just that last third. They just didn't get a goal. They were a little unlucky to not get a goal. Pulisic played actually really well, played really great, but they didn't win. So
okay, no, they're in first, 7 points after 3 games. Hoffenheim 7 points after 3 games. Leipzig are up there as well. They two wins on the bounce after that first their loss in the beginning of the season. Bayern Munich, as we said, down to 6th. But huge game today. Tottenham Hotspur at Wembley Stadium against Borussia Dortmund. I know you'll be watching. You have the afternoon off.
yes.
A chance for Tottenham, or what a hard group this is. What a fascinating group in the Champions League. This is what the Champions League is all about. With let me get my
Real Madrid,
Real Madrid.
Apoel, Nicosia, Tottenham Hotspur, and Borussia Dortmund.
Thanks,
Definitely the group.
Thanks,
Yeah.
buddy.
No problem, buddy. Definitely
It's
the group of death.
It's the group of death. Yeah.
For sure.
Everyone loves a group of death.
I'm looking forward to watching Pulisic at Wembley today.
Yeah.
Just batter. Hopefully Spurs get absolutely battered at home in the Champions League again.
Well, now you have the American audience actually watching Pulisic play for Dortmund, as they're normally watching the Premier League.
Which is a big thing, because so many Americans are like,
Yeah.
oh, he's so good, but they literally don't watch. I'm like the only dude that watches all these Dortmund games.
They're being told he's good by pundits.
Yeah, exactly. And they see little YouTube highlights and like, oh, he is good, but they don't watch him.
Mm-hmm.
Not many Americans watch him week in, week out on these Dortmund.
Except for
games,
you, buddy. You're
I know.
the top Pulisic expert. We're lucky to have you on the podcast.
Well, we're lucky that I think that if he has a nice Champions League run, then people will start probably watching.
This is a big year for him, and he's going to be in this group H, this group of death. There's not a better opportunity for him to show how good he is in this group, and if he performs well I'm sure every Dortmund game will be shown on FS1 or FS2. Well, just because half the games are going to be against,
and especially in this group right now, in the time it is, because Marco Reus is not back from injury. You didn't sign anybody big. It's not going to be past January. For the next 3 to 4 months, he is going to be, him and Aubameyang are their attack.
Yeah, the lineups have already been announced. So Pulisic is starting. Aubameyang, Sahin, Castro, Philippe. It's been released. Tottenham with pretty much the same starting 11 they had at the weekend as well. Harry Kane, Eriksen. The most notable guy who is out is Deli Ali, is not in the starting 11. I don't know if he's had a injury, but Dembele's come in, Harry Winks is there, and Ben Davies as well, the youngster.
Okay.
How do you see this game going, considering Tottenham have always struggled at Wembley Stadium in the Champions League and in the Premier League?
I think
I have
2-1.
no clue.
2-1 Dortmund is what I expect. But then again, Tottenham will be in front of 80, 90,000 people, and if they have to start winning at Wembley, they just have to, and this is a good opportunity to start off their Champions League campaign with a win against a top European side.
I think I'm kind of with Connor, but I actually have both these. Well, specifically, I watch a lot of Dortmund. This year, they're more compact, they're more organized in the back. I think they probably squeeze out a result here, but they are a counter. They can get really counterattack you. They could spring 2 goals on you really quickly. I really have no idea how this game's going to turn. It's going to be interesting to watch. I'm actually
It really is,
actually
'cause
really excited to watch it.
Dortmund are such a tactically renowned team, and you can say the same for Tottenham Hotspur under Pochettino. It really is a pretty fascinating matchup that should be a sick game.
We're either going to be at Blaze for the first half. I know I got to pick up my son, but I'll try and catch most of the game. If not, I'll watch the highlights. But moving on. Well, let me just say the other fixtures today. Liverpool at home to Seville, back in the Champions League. Other notable games: Feyenoord hosting Manchester City.
That should be a good one.
Leipzig at home to Monaco, and Real Madrid at home to Apoel Nicosia. They really need a win to kickstart their season. But now on to everyone's favorite section. Here it is. The international players are back. It is MLS Week
27.
27.
Week 27.
Winding down the season. Playoff picture is kind of coming together.
It is.
So, Connor, take it away. Well, I've got to leave. I've got to get my charger real quick because my laptop's about to die.
Don't need you.
MLS Roundup, Connor Walsh. Take it away, kid.
Yes, sir. To start off, before we break down the exciting week of matches here in the United States of America, biggest news story of the week is Eric Palmer Brown, U.S. Under-20 International. We saw him a lot at the World Cup a few months ago. He's reportedly signed a pre-contract with Manchester City. Reportedly. And a pre-contract,
Yeah.
what's that even look like?
I don't know. I think it's a lot of you bite your lip a lot. Think about baseball.
Yeah, something.
And with Cameron Carter-Vickers, we have the best center back triple name duo in the world.
Yeah, we do. And we kind of need these guys. We're going to need these guys soon because center back seems to be a position that we have struggled with. But regardless, reportedly signs a pre-contract with Manchester City. There's been interest in the past from PSG. There was some pretty concrete interest from Juventus. Some MLS reporters had said that they had actually offered him a contract of some sort. But it looks like he's going the Manchester City route. If he does sign, I would imagine he would be loaned to a Manchester City affiliate. So maybe we'll be seeing him in New York City. And New York City could use a center back. And that would be really exciting to have a young U.S. international starting at center back.
That would.
From what I've seen of him this year for Kansas City, he's been great for them. I watched them on Wednesday night. They played, New York City played Kansas City, and he was playing in that match and played well by all accords. But maybe we'll see him in New York. Maybe he'll go on loan to NOC Breda in the Eredivisie, but we'll see what happens. Exciting for him that we'll have another U.S. player at another top club. He's already played for Porto B. He was in Portugal for a couple of seasons already, so looks like the future will continue to be bright for young Eric Palmer Brown. On to the matches, though. Starting on Wednesday night, NYCFC late 1-0 win over Kansas City. Jack Harrison.
Go on, son.
First goal in 9 matches, and he's been in a bit of a slump, and he needed that. 85th minute volley winner.
That was good without David Villa as well.
Yeah, no David Villa. And it was a pretty ugly game. It was pouring rain at Yankee Stadium, and
Standard.
It was pretty much New York City FC's B team with Villa out, and pretty much 9 starters are either suspended or hurt of some variety. So it's definitely a big 3 points over one of the best teams in the Western Conference. Andrea Pirlo went the full 90 minutes.
Go on, son.
Which you never want to see. He is a dreadful old man, but whatever. Saturday, big one in
He's dreadful.
Dude,
yeah, after all he's done to the world of football, what a dreadful old man.
Hey, if it's not happening in the MLS, it's not happening anywhere else. So he sucks. But no, he's sick.
Paul did receive his Andrea Pirlo jersey.
It's a nice wedding gift you got him.
Oh.
Was he excited?
Oh, he's pumped. He said my wife will love to wear that.
Nice.
Anyway,
Saturday, Chicago drew with New York Red Bull 1-1. Bradley Wright Phillips and Nemanja Nikolic on the score sheet. Chicago is down to third.
when was the last time they won? I mean,
they struggled. They lost to Minnesota the previous week. It's been definitely hit a plateau in form. Nikolic also hit a plateau scoring, so it'll be good for him to be back on the score sheet. Toronto doing what Toronto does, man. They are
1 win in 5. Chicago.
Yeah, they struggled. But Toronto just keep doing what they've been doing, man. So good. 4-0 over San Jose. Josie Altidore scored a brace the same day.
Well, he can do it for Toronto.
Pumped.
You can do it for Toronto.
He kills it for Toronto, man. He scores like 14, 15, 16 goals a year. Like he puts in good work for Toronto. We just got to see it more at the international level.
Doesn't that frustrate you as a?
Yeah, no, because
we know he can score goals,
and he does score goals. He's been awesome. He really is. You watch him for Toronto. He's a really, really good, exciting MLS striker to watch. Like he's clearly the best number 9 in MLS.
So that's like 5-6 wins in a row for Toronto now.
Of course.
Easily
Dude,
as well.
I think we should play him as a number 9 with Pulisic behind him. Anyway, that's a whole nother pot. We can get back into that another time.
A little bit of Victor Vasquez scored, leading the MLS in assists, gets a goal. Osario also scored. Giovinco was taken off at halftime with quad tightness. looks like it's just precautionary. They have pretty much secured supporter shield. They've already made the playoffs. No point in overworking him these last few weeks of the regular season. But Toronto could legitimately win a treble this year, which would be cool for them. They've already won the Canadian Championship. Supporters Shield, they're 9 points clear in that race over New York City. It looks like they'll have that wrapped up. And then they are your favorites to win the league, so they could win a nice little treble there.
Do you think if Toronto do win all these trophies, the big players will start to leave and go for another challenge?
I don't know, because they didn't win the league last year despite being in the final. It's not like they have like repeated success.
Well, that's
despite being the best team in the league, they didn't win last year.
Well, that's why I'm saying if they do achieve that this year, do you think the players will start to leave?
I think that Toronto, if I'm a Toronto player and as a club, their ambition should be the first club to win CONCACAF Champions League. Because that's the one thing that is tainting MLS as a whole, is a club has never won the Champions League, and we need an MLS club to win the Champions League, and this team could do it. So, hopefully that they can achieve that. But if I'm them, I'm trying to win the CONCACAF Champions League. Moving on, New York City FC played again, losing 1-0 to Portland. Valeri scored the only goal, 7 goals in 7 games for him.
And that was the game you guys were going to go to, right?
Yeah,
it was.
Yeah, I watched it.
New York City's 10-game home unbeaten streak comes to an end. As we said earlier, David Villa is still out, which is an issue for the club. Sean Johnston was brilliant despite the loss. He had one save in particular, was arguably the best save of the season so far in MLS.
So they're Portland top now of the West?
They are top of the West.
Get a call up. Call them up. Sean Johnson American?
Yeah, no, he was on the Gold Cup roster. Played a few games in the group stage. Orlando 2-1 over DC United. Kyle Larin on the score sheet. New England 1-0 over Montreal.
Oh. Bit of
there we go.
Techno problem there. But,
there you go.
Techno notice.
Lee Wynn scoring for New England. Minnesota United draws with Philadelphia. I feel like they've played like 6 times. I feel like I'm always talking about Philly and Minnesota. 1-1 draw. Ethan Finley continues his good run of form.
Is that Bobby Finley's son?
I don't believe so. Ethan Finley's been great for Minnesota since coming over from Columbus at the trade deadline. 2 goals in 3 games plus 2 assists so far.
What about the guy for Costa Rica who plays for Minnesota? Who rips it up for Costa Rica? Had a great game.
Molino?
Yeah. What does he do for Minnesota?
Not much. Molino's good, man. He's whatever. He sucks.
He was one of the best players on the field when I went to watch them. And all right.
Thanks,
Sam,
Kevin.
Wait, dude, when we were at the Costa Rica USA game, you're actually conscious of the other team?
Yeah, absolutely.
Dude, Molino's from Trinidad, by the way.
I'm not. I'm just staring at my own players. I'm just like, come on.
You're
I
staring
gotta become a better soccer fan.
Yeah, you watch. I mean, especially. We were low down for the first half, but when we were further up, you can see the play more.
I think like journalists are the only people that have good seats at soccer games because they're higher up, right at midfield. It's really hard to watch soccer live at a game and judge what's going on.
Especially if you're that low down and close to goal, you want to take in the blood and sweat right in your face, and as a fan, you love that. But anyway, MLS.
Moving on, Houston lost 1-0 to Colorado at home. It's another L for the city of Houston after the Texans also lost. Sorry, guys. Vancouver 3-2 over Real Salt Lake. Columbus 1-1 against Sporting Kansas City. My favorite game from the weekend was the Atlanta FC Dallas game. 3-0 in their new stadium. Mike, did you watch that?
Watch that game.
Dude, how sick is that stadium?
Atmosphere.
Yeah, it is maybe the best atmosphere in the league. It was amazing. It really was.
So, as it was NFL Sunday, the week 1 of NFL this Sunday. Connor's working at the bar. We don't gain a huge NFL crowd. I walk in, I see the NFL games on the scrub TVs. He has Atlanta FC blasting volume in the middle TV, which is great, which is amazing. But
yeah, I'm never promoting the NFL.
What a game and what a victory for Atlanta.
Yeah, and as far as like a soccer team playing in an NFL stadium, this is levels above any other club situation because you genuinely can't tell you're in a football stadium. They have the entire level, like top level, walled off, and it says Atlanta. It looks really, really cool and well done. The stadium is unbelievably looking. Like it's just
how many people at the game?
45,000.
Wow.
And atmosphere is great. The sound is great. It's not. It doesn't feel like it was in reality is a half empty stadium. It looks like a full soccer stadium. And just got to give a shout out to both the Falcons and Atlanta United for developing a stadium that is positive for both teams that play there. It's not just beneficial to the Falcons.
Yeah.
It works for Atlanta United. And
I know what Tottenham are doing with their new stadium, where they have the soccer pitch underneath the NFL pitch. There's a retractable NFL field that's going to come on at the new White Hart Lane or whatever it's called. Have you seen this, Mike?
What?
There's like the soccer field, the grass field, like low down. And when there's NFL games, they're going to bring this NFL artificial turf over the top. A retractable. I think it comes in
three parts. It's
three
separate.
I mean, I know we keep playing games. NFL keeps playing games in England. Are they really trying to get a real England?
Yeah, because this has been
the London sissy nannies.
Yeah, no, but this was talked about.
Don't hit him, patty cake him.
Yeah, well, this has been talked about for like 2 years now, where Tottenham would build a stadium that would work for the NFL with the intention of a potential London.
No, I think it's the other way around. The NFL field, the artificial turf is underneath the grass field. So the grass the grass field retracts. And it's crazy because the NFL field has to be lower down for some reason for coaches and stuff like that. I don't know. It's something like that. Yeah, it's weird.
But yeah, I guess back to Atlanta though.
Oh yeah, sorry.
3-0 win over FC Dallas. FC Dallas's free fall continues. Oscar Pereja, the manager of Dallas, has at one point, even as recently as 12 months ago, was maybe considered the best coach in the entire United States for what he's done at Dallas and developing the academy and just how well Dallas have played at times. He was touted to be the next national team manager potentially. But this looks like a real challenge for him with just the complete lack of form from FC Dallas. They're currently only safe in the playoff picture by 1 point. They're currently on 37 points. San Jose Earthquakes are on 36. So it's going to be interesting. This is a real test for him to see if he can keep them in the playoffs and then what he can then do in the playoffs if they make it. If they don't make the playoffs, it's going to be extremely disappointing for them just because they do have one of the best teams in the entire league.
That last place.
Yeah. So pretty tight down there, actually.
Yeah, anyone can get in the playoffs.
But shout out to Atlanta. They play tonight. I'm against New England Revolution. I feel like it's just must watch. Atlanta FC's must watch just with that stadium, and they're playing at home and with the core of young South American talent that is exceptional.
Where are all these fans coming from in Atlanta? I'm like, where are they? I was like watching it, like we can't even get that type of atmosphere for a USA national game. So I know it's a mix of like all different nationalities that are supporting the Atlanta club, but where does this come from?
It's probably layovers. You know, I know Atlanta has it has the biggest layover.
Just the airport.
Yeah, right. So what do you want to do? You know, I got a 5-hour layoff. Let's catch a game. Maybe. Yeah. Why not? I don't know.
Free shuttle from the airport to the stadium. But yeah, they play again tonight. Definitely be tuning in for that. See what they can do there. But they are probably the most exciting team in the league, just with Joseph Martinez.
Dude, they were killing Dallas. It almost I got sad for Dallas. Like, it was like these guys there's no way you could defend at that level because you're just too tired.
Yeah,
just constantly.
But shout out to Atlanta. Last game of the week was Seattle versus LA. The aforementioned Alexi Lalas tried to upstage, which was a great MLS match, trying to take over. 1-1. Jesse's artist, 2 goals in 2 games after not scoring in 4 years.
Yeah, right?
Dude, he is the worst player I have ever
Does he deserve
seen.
A call-up now for the national team?
No. Or maybe if he didn't score
not?
for 2 years and got called up, maybe 2 goals, they'll build a statue for him outside of the Hall of Fame. What an absolute joke of a footballer. But Lamar Nagel, late equalizer in the 85th. Mike, you watched the game, right?
Yeah, well, I watched up until Jordan Morris ripped his hammy.
Yeah. Oh, we got to talk about. We didn't ever mention that. It's a good thing you brought up there. Jordan Morris definitely did his hammy in. I imagine he'll miss both October qualifiers, which is unfortunate for the U.S. It seems like the woes are piling on. But the finish was wild. I was watching the game with my buddies who came over to watch the Giants game. Ended up turning the soccer game on, and it was way more exciting than NFL. Surprise. But it was a great game. One bit of news that just came out while we were recording. Sunil Gulati, U.S. soccer president, will have a challenger for his presidency in the February vote. Last year, he went unchallenged. Boston attorney Steve Gans will be challenging him. Again, the vote is in February.
Do we know much about him?
I did some reading about him. He's pretty much been traveling the country. Obviously, I assume he's a big soccer guy to be running for the presidency, but he's done a lot of touring with different clubs, different situations, just trying to feel things out, and he now feels like he wants to run and change U.S. soccer, I guess. We'll see what his platform is as more stuff comes out, but a lot of people have been calling for a change at the top of U.S. soccer, and you would imagine that Galati's going to run seriously because he is actually very high up in the international soccer community. He's on FIFA's top board. He's on the CONCACAF board. So I imagine that's a job that he will want to keep, but maybe we'll have some fresh change come February.
When's the vote?
February. I think it's February 8th or 9th. I saw Washington Post reported, so we'll see what happens there, but that's just
my instinct is to go fuck Galati, get out of here.
That's what I'm saying.
Oh, good MLS section. I like that one.
That was a good one.
That was a good one.
Good.
Portland.
I don't know if that's right. That's just to move Galati out. I don't know.
Let me just do the standings real quick. Read off the playoff picture. In the East, Toronto's first, 59 points. New York City FC second with 50. Chicago Fire third with 45. Crew SC with 43. Red Bull with 41. And Atlanta finishing off the playoff picture with 39. Montreal is right there, though, with 36. And Revolution of 35.
Big game then tonight for Atlanta and New England to
Yeah,
separate. Yeah, that's a huge game.
Huge game. If New England were to come out with 3 points, they'd only be 1 point out of the playoff picture. So they've been playing well recently, picking up some points here and there.
No. Do the Western and then me.
On to the West. Portland on top with 44 points. So that was a big win in New York for them. Seattle second with 43. Whitecaps third with 41. Sporting Kansas City fourth, also with 41 points. Houston Dynamo 38 points. FC Dallas still barely in that playoff picture with 37. San Jose Earthquakes are on 36. So
I'm going to go with them upsetting Dallas. I think Dallas are just absolute in free-for-all right now.
It seems like it. So, again, see if Pereira can stop the madness there. Real Salt Lake 7th with 35, and pretty big gap between them and the bottom half of the Western Conference. So that should be
so. Yeah, I've got an idea for the playoffs actually, because we want to go down to Yankee Stadium, see some playoff games. So I know we have a lot of local listeners out there thinking about renting a minibus out there. So get in contact with us on our Twitter, Instagram, Facebook account if you want to go. I'm looking to rent a minibus, hire a driver, someone. I don't know, Eric from the bar.
And anyone that listened, anyone that went to our bar bus trip for the Seattle Sounders NYCFC game knows how much of a piss up that was one of the wildest days of my whole life. Just hammered at Yankee Stadium.
But anyway, we haven't got much time left, just enough time to round up the fantasy. I don't know if you've been taking much notice, Mike, down on your fantasy team, the ups and downs this week.
I think I had a good week.
Let me see if you had a good week. You did have a good week. Pula Gods up to 11th, 50 points this week. Team Jabroni, Sam Leamy up to 6th from 7th. And Connor Walsh, where are we, Connor?
14th.
14th. You're up as well, 50 points. The biggest points accumulative total this week was Trippier and Balls. Great. Joey D. Martin, 80 points up to 3rd. But
Rainsburg soccer alumni. Shout out Joey D.
But Brian Norton still hanging on to that first place. Not a very good week for him. 32 points this week, 244 in total. It's getting a little bit tight at the top. CJ Tremmell from DC United, previous guest, Box Wreckers FC, 57 points, 232 total. Chad Binney, Jammer FC, 53 points this week, 219 total. Gasbaggers, 48 points. Getting kind of tight at the top. I want to give a shout out to Esclade for Joby CC.
Yo, Fajabi Sai. Thanks for joining late. It's never too late to win.
Well, I think it's this guy's brother, Emmanuel
yeah.
Sai. So shout out to them. Matt Behan, a huge fan of the podcast, 27 points this week, not very good. But big points totals this week. Danny Welbeck, your favourite Arsenal player. 2 goals and assists, 16 points this week. Harry Kane, it is September. He's on the score sheet this week. Jesus getting 12 points. That Choupo-Moting for Stoke City getting 2 points against 2 goals against Manchester United. I had Mane in my team, -2 points for that red card. Going forward, this is my. I might take Chicharito off.
Yeah, I got to bin him.
West Ham getting a 2-0 victory over Huddersfield on Monday. I feel like with these lesser teams, if you have like somewhat of a superstar in your team, you focus solely on that player. And he's done okay since he's come back into the Premier League, but I think Ayew and Carroll would be a better fit just for trying to get results and playing around those types of players. Because Carroll is not that he's a great player, but he just does give you a different dynamic. You're not just humping balls. Scrappy plays in the box, and Hernandez is going to be there. Carroll can drop deep and score with his head. But yeah, that I would go against putting any Crystal Palace players in your team. They do have Southampton at home with a new manager, maybe just for this week. But they have Manchester City away and Manchester United away. They have a really tough few games for Roy Hodgson, I think. Southampton home, Huddersfield in the EFL Cup, Man City away, Man United away, then Chelsea at home. So really tough games for Crystal Palace. I mean, they've lost their first 4. Looks like, I mean, they have to win their next game, really, Mike, right?
Oh, yeah, 100%.
Yeah, the new manager, absolutely. But we'll wait for Connor to come back from the toilet. He's just run away. But there is your fantasy update. Keep doing your transfers. Yeah, you did have a good week, Mike. Who have you got in your team?
I got Lukaku. I have Harry Kane. I got Deli Ali. I didn't check it though. So do I have to check it every week?
You don't have to. I mean, you got Jeff Cameron. I'm surprised you only have one.
USMNT.
America, yeah.
Well, I'm gonna pick up Yedlin. I think maybe.
You have John Stones. You have John Stones, mate. Well, you have De Bruyne, Willian, Chamberlain, Ali, Lukaku, captain. Put 3 up top. You don't need 4 defenders. You have.
Oh really? Oh, all right.
Yeah. Just
I think it does it without me even my knowledge. It'll just change its formation sometimes.
Well, it does. If you have someone who's suspended or injured for a game, they'll automatically put your sub in. So that kind of evens itself out. But
I'll check that out.
A big injury, if you have Paul Pogba, I would get him out. 50% chance he's playing. Hamstring injury yesterday. Same with Salah. Apparently he's ill. Jeff Cameron's injured, so watch out for that. He has a 50% chance of playing. But on to fantasy, where you can win a $50 gift card from
Soccer.com.
Soccer.com. But to Alexi Lalas, to Roy Hodgson, to
Atlanta
United. We appreciate everyone tuning in. Keep tweeting us at The Third Touch. Instagram is live. Connor Walsh in charge of that. And if anyone wants to come on this New York City FC, there's only limited spaces available. So tweet us. Let me know if you want to come. Probably about 10 spaces. I'll try and find a driver because playoffs are fast approaching in the MLS. And what's better
we gotta
than the MLS playoffs? Our Champions League?
Our next 2 NYCFC away days have to be Atlanta or Portland.
I'll go to Atlanta.
Yeah, we got to do that.
I'll do that.
We got to do Atlanta. All right. That's
all right,
it.
Mike. We'll let you go on with your day. Enjoy the Tottenham Borussia Dortmund game. Good luck to both teams. Good luck to everyone in the soccer world, apart from Alexi Lalas. Right. Okay. That wasn't fun.
Later. No, it was good. That was good.
Right.
Who do you think you are? Mr. Big Stuff. You're never gonna get